This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Drive to deep center field. Going back, Hernandez at the track, right to the wall. Gone! Elvis Andrus!
And 29 other MLB clubs.
High drive, deep left field. Nino left the building.
Guerrero lifts one to left field and gone.
Sonny, that was a moonshot out there in the right center.
Alonso defends his title, the 2021 Derby champion.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from OPS Plus to juiced balls to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is time for a little A's Cast Live as we get you ready for the Athletics and the New York Yankees, and we talk everything in Major League Baseball. Going to be an interesting day because for the Athletics, they've got a guy on the mound that everybody is watching. Everybody. And as we have talked about, when you play against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, when they're doing well, now everybody's really watching. And here we are, as the date is June 28th. We're getting into July, and the last time we talked to David Force, we said, hey, is your phone ringing? Oh, yeah, we're starting to really talk. So the wheels are in motion. And Frankie Montas in his last outing was absolutely fantastic. We were looking at the potential of a no-hitter, and that got broken up, and then he got taken out. And, oh, guess what? He got taken out of the game. What do you think happened?
Oh, they lost the lead.
By who?
The bullpen?
Yeah, the bullpen.
Wild pitches by, the guy I thought was going to be the closer.
Yeah, I did the math yesterday. I know the game notes have just come out, so I haven't looked at the game notes, so we're going to have to go off my San Jose State math. We'll see if my math is correct, because I did it yesterday. Oh, let's see. Last 29 games. All right, their math is wrong. But anyway, it says the A's bullpen has blown 3 saves in the last 5 games, and they're 3-7. 3 saves, 8 blown saves, and a 6.5. Oh, okay, so mine would be for the last. See, I have them for the last 30 games at 6.82 ERA. They have them for a 6.54. Either way, it's horrific. That's not right. Cody, can I check? I know this is not the way to start the show, but I'm going to go to my own ERA calculator here, and I think our own game notes is wrong.
Well, I can, while you're doing that, I can just tell you what the overall bullpen.
70. Oh, I had it for 95. Number 96. Hold on. 96. 96.3333 equals. They might. I was missing an inning. Yep, they're right. So that this is still horrific. I mean, the last 29 games, they got a 6.54 ERA. And we have seen the blueprint of rushing to get to this bullpen, which for Frankie Montas cost him a win the other day. And today, all eyes are going to be on baseball. I mean, if you watch MLB Network, they were naming off all these different teams that are going to be watching tonight's game at Yankee Stadium, and they're looking to see Frankie Montas. Doug Glanville from ESPN. Oh, that's right. He's got the Jason Stark podcast. He's going to be here at 2 o'clock, and Bip Roberts is going to be here at 2:30. Dave Cavill has been rescheduled, and what are we looking at for Cavill?
We're trying for Friday after the BCDC vote in Oakland, so we're hoping for Friday. I'm waiting for confirmation from Dave's people. Essentially.
So your people and Dave's people are
we're negotiating, as they would say.
You guys are in talks.
Yes.
All right. So before we get into A's Yankees, I wanted to bring this up because obviously a lot of the baseball world think this is the main story going on, and it just so happens to be about two garbage teams. When you look at two teams that have absolutely disappointed in Major League Baseball this year, you could easily look at the disappointment that is, wait for it, they've been disappointing for years, the Angels and the Seattle Mariners, who won 90 games last year. Currently, right now, the Angels are 11 games back and Seattle 12 and a half games back. And I wasn't able to do my third inning hit inside the broadcast yesterday on this because it came down after. So this came down, the suspensions came down as we were like, what, in the fourth or fifth inning yesterday? Major League Baseball came in and just hammered the Angels, hammered three guys, Winker, Crawford, and who else?
I have the whole list right here. It was Winker, Crawford.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yeah, the three Mariners.
Rodriguez got 2 games. All right, whatever. We'll see who's going to appeal, whatever. The one guy in this, to me, that is so head-scratching is Phil Nevin. Now, obviously, Major League Baseball did not like the fact that the Angels were so blatant that we're going to throw an opener out there and we're just going to throw at people. Send a message. Because obviously they didn't like earlier in the series a ball going essentially over Mike Trout's head. They didn't like that. So they go out in the first inning and they're going to send the old school baseball message. Do I have a problem with that? Nah. You hit one guy, you move on. But they were, wouldn't you say, going to do more than that in that first inning?
Oh, yeah. That's why you put the opener in there.
Yeah, this is going to be more than just one guy gets it and let's move on. And now you turn this game into a sham. And because of that, Major League Baseball has suspended Phil Nevin 10 games. This is one of the longer historic suspensions for a manager. Now, I want you to think about this. The stupidity of this. Here you have a guy that wants to be a manager. The Angels lose 14 games and they fire their manager. Now you get the shot to manage as an interim tag, but yet if you do some things that are well and kind of turn the season around, you, Phil Nevin, former player who grew up in Orange County, who grew up going to Angel games, now has an opportunity to have a big league job, more than just third base coach, all the different stuff that he's been doing. You get a chance to manage. There's only 30 of these jobs. But knowing what a red ass, got to be the toughest guy, Phil Nevin has always been this guy. He's always been Johnny Bravado, which even there's another way to say it that Mark Kotze said to us, because they're both Fullerton guys. Mark Kotze said this to us off the air. I can't repeat, but it was along the lines of Phil Nevin around everybody always has to be the dude. You are basically interviewing for a job while you have the job. A lot of us have done that before. You got to try out. Phil Nevin is essentially trying out on the job. You're getting this opportunity. You're not going through the interview process where they bring Cody in, they bring me in, they bring this guy, we all interview, and then they decide, all right, we're choosing that guy. You're getting the chance to prove to Perry Manassian. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, Manassian, you got it.
You're getting a chance to prove to him, to Artie Moreno, I'm the guy for the job. You don't need to interview anybody else. I'm the man that can lead these guys to where you want to go, which is the postseason. That is your opportunity. And how many games did Phil Nevin manage before he got suspended for 10 games?
It's not many. He only won 7 games as the manager. So he's been suspended for more games than games he's won as the manager. Think about that for a second. So
my lovely daughter Abigail is bringing me my pre-show coffee. You want to say hello to the look down into the. Hi. That's one of the twins right there. Yeah, the days of Townsend twin jokes and all that stuff is over. They're teenagers. They want no part of it. It was a great bit. If you remember the Chris Townsend show on 95.7 The Game, we had Townsend twin jokes.
I'm pulling up Phil's. He's managed.
Did you ever hear Townsend twin jokes?
I have 20 games.
I used to have people who would say they would stay in their car when they got home from work because they wanted to hear the joke.
That's either a great segment.
I had, because remember I was doing Warriors, Raiders, and A's all at the same time. I had people at Warrior games tell me this, Raider games, of course, A's games. Townsend twin jokes was a huge hit, and now they're teenagers. They're too cool, and they want no part of it. By the way, just to show you today, I am wearing a kind of a collector's item for luck today before I start ripping Phil Nevin anymore. Do you know what this is, Cody?
No, I don't.
This is an opening series 2019 Tokyo, Japan shirt. You should know this as if you're an Ichiro fan. It was Ichiro's last games as a player.
Yes, I know.
I was there. How many people have a opening series A's Tokyo, Japan shirt? I'm wearing that today in honor of the green and gold to help make something happen.
I like the shirt. It looks clean. It doesn't look like you've worn it very much because it's.
I don't know how many times I've ever worn it.
It's not fading or anything like that. It looks good. No one can see what shirt I have on, but it's Baseballism's home shirt. This came out during COVID.
Is that the place we were in Arizona?
Yeah, they're everywhere. I looked. The one they had.
And now we're doing a hat with the 3 on it.
Yeah,
something like that. We're doing some giveaway.
I went to the.
Is that a giveaway or sign up for ticket packages? What exactly is it?
I have it right here. Pick 3+ games to unlock a limited edition A's Baseballism hat. Plans start at 2 games, with the Baseballism hat being unlocked at 3+ games. Athletics.com/tickets to get your 3.
What is the significance of this hat in our organization?
Well, the hat, I believe, is a 3 up, 3 down. It's a 3 and then like the reverse. Let me see if I can find the picture of the hat for you.
It has no significance to the A's whatsoever.
It's just, I think it's more of our color. So it's 3 up, 3 down. So see how the 3 has an arrow going up and down, and we just put it in like our colors. I don't know.
Do we have anything specific to an elephant?
That I've seen.
A's.
That I've seen. The only thing the Baseballism has, like, they have a lot of major league stuff, like the movie.
Oh no! I went into their store. I saw a lot of Giants and Dodger stuff.
Trying to remember what we have with. If you go to
you were there with me in Arizona before.
The only Baseballism store that we have in the Bay Area is the one across from Oracle Park on 3rd and.
And what do you think I'm going to get over across from Oracle Park?
They had. I think they had. Well, they had a 1989 hoodie, and it was like one part of it was green, and the other part of 89 was orange. As
I was taking you to dinner in Scottsdale, Arizona.
That's right. It was in the middle of that like shopping center, like downtown. Is that Old Town?
Old Town Scottsdale. As I was taking, was it Los Olivios?
Something like that. It was a Vuk.
It's a Voos. Steve Vucinich recommends you go, and it's fabulous. By the way, our old boss I sent there on his trip to Scottsdale, and he loved it.
That wasn't our first time there. We went there in 2020 as well.
Didn't quite remember it that time.
Oh yeah.
We got there a little late.
Yeah, there was not.
We're kind of closing that joint down. This was a different trip. We were. It was a whole different. But anyway, you look back on this, and the reason why I'm starting the show is because I was just at the gym, as I tell you all the time. The club that I belong to, it's a bunch of old people. I got it. There, there's soap operas or CNN or whatever's always on. I go and change it to MLB Network, and every show from High Heat to MLB Now, and this is what everybody's talking about. Everybody, they're either talking about that or how embarrassing it is. By the way, the A's and the 2 catchers interference. We've been We've embarrassed ourselves the last couple games. We embarrassed ourselves the Frankie Montas start where he throws no-hit baseball, then we blow it in the ninth because of wild pitches. We can't throw strikes. And then last night we have a lead, and then we give up, 7 runs in the inning because catcher's interference, because you got a guy 6'7", 6'5", and our catcher literally is right under them. Like, you got to give these big guys some room. I'm not putting it on the Yankees at all. This is not Josh Reddick with the big looping swing and it happens. You go back and look. I mean, Murph is literally right under these guys. Aaron Judge is 6'7", right?
Yes.
What do you think? He's going to have a short swing like Tony Gwynn when he's 6'7"? Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton, do you think he's going to be crouched with this little tight swing like Ricky Henderson?
No.
He's 6'5". What the hell are you doing right in under him?
Yeah, it was a bad inning, bad look.
That's on us. Unless you can sell me a different way, which I'm sure there's somebody out there that would try and sell me, I think that's on us. But we've had some stupid losses. I mean, it's. I did my hit for NBC today about pride. You got to have some pride. Time to have some pride. There comes a point to where I can give you all these numbers about the Yankees, but you got to have some pride. And we'll get more into that.
To go back to it, though, about Phil Nevin, 20 games he's managed.
So you've managed 20 games and now been suspended 10.
Yeah, and you've only won 7.
Is okay, once again, you've managed 20 games. You're under 500 in those 20 games. You are in what it is. You're trying to get a job. You're interviewing on the job. This is on the job interview. And you get suspended for 10 games. When you step back and look at it, how many people are going to go, this was a really dumb move?
I think a lot. And sorry, I was wrong. He was 9-11. Someone said 7 on Twitter, and I believe that because I believe, like you, I believe everything on the internet. So he's 9-11 and 20.
Not your fault. Not your fault. Like, not you or Draymond. Yeah, not your fault.
But no, with Nevin managing 20 games and wanting to get this job, their bench coach, Ray Montgomery, managed the team last night. The Angels won. That's not the point.
This is great.
From what I've heard, Ray Montgomery is the guy that they wanted to be the manager, but he also got suspended 2 games too, I think.
Okay, but he's not suspended until Nevin's suspension's over. Then he has to serve. This is how insane this is.
Hold on.
The interpreter.
Yeah, I was just going to say the interpreter got suspended for 2 games.
The interpreter got suspended. You want to talk about chaos in your organization? So I've gone back and looked at they have different camera angles. Do you realize how many old guys were actually involved in this? And when I mean old guys my age, this wasn't all players.
No, there was a lot of coaches and stuff.
There was a lot of Angel coaches. Like, you're trying to show leadership. You're trying to show you're a leader of men. And you have nothing but chaos in this where you're coaching. Coaches are not supposed to be grappling, like yelling and like getting into it with players and other coaches.
No, not at all.
You're supposed to be refraining people. You're supposed to be the adults in the room. They have coaches who are full on this thing. It's
almost like it wasn't as chaotic, but it's almost when Alex Centrone won after Ramon Laureano. That's the last time we saw something.
There you go.
It's the last time we saw something like this.
Yeah, and how did that look for the coach being the instigator?
Yeah, not good. It wasn't a good look. And here's another one that's funny. This player isn't even playing. Got suspended for 5 games and won't serve it until he comes off the injured list. That'd be the next flop contract in Angels history, Anthony Rendon. That one's kind of funny. And I don't know if you saw MLB Now yesterday. I was watching it when they were talking about this, and Joel Sherman said his point was great because if you want to avoid injuries and hitting players getting hit by pitches and all that nonsense, because Mike Trout got hit the day before. That's what started all this. And he did hit.
When did he get hit? It just buzzed.
Yeah, it went up inside, and then all that happened. But he did hit 5 home runs the weekend before. But I guess you're pissed about that, sure. But this all could have been avoided if, as Joel Sherman said, if you want to not have people get injured, Phil, if he had a problem with Scott Service, he should have walked over and punched him in the face.
Just Phil Nevin walk over and punch him.
I thought that was pretty funny. And like Joel was like serious about it.
Now, technically, you'll get arrested for that. That's assault. But yeah, it's actually fine.
But no one's getting. We're not condoning violence, but no one's.
No, that's kind of like Phil Nevin is the big bravado guy.
Yes,
that's who he has always been. Trust me, I played against him in college. That's who he was. Remember, he was the first guy wearing the Oakleys with the color shades. All the big leaguers made fun of him. Now they all do it. He did set that trend. There's no doubt. Playing in the College World Series with Oakley's on. He helped make Oakley's. But that's who he is. He's the big bravado guy. Well, that big bravado, we're going to go out there and we're going to punk their guys and we're going to do that and we're going to, it's old school baseball. That just got you suspended. How am I supposed to sell him now as my future manager?
It's going to be a really hard look for Perry Manassi and the Angels organization. For an organization, as Hembo went off and said it brilliantly yesterday, but how just, and I guess not, inept's not the right word, but just how bad they've been since Mike Trout came up or has been in the system. I mean, like he said yesterday, they've had no winning seasons combined in the minor league since 2013. But right now, if you're trying to get Nevin to be your manager.
So what he's talking about is big league level and the entire minor league level. The entire minor league level, if you add up all the wins and losses of all their teams, they haven't had a 500 record in the minor league level since 2013.
Mike Trout's second full year in the majors.
Think about that. So they haven't been 500 in a baseball season at the big league level since 15?
15, yeah.
They haven't been 500 at the minor league level since 2013. So there's just losing, managers getting fired, GMs getting replaced. We're trying to sell that there's not chaos here, right? We're trying to sell not chaos, and then this happens, and there's just not chaos. There's utter chaos. You've got coaches, interpreter, you got everybody. I mean, it literally just shows you how dysfunctional a franchise that once under Mike Scioscia was a standard. They were always competitive. They played the right way. They were tough. They took first to third better than anybody else. The Angels were a well-run franchise, and they battled those great A's teams in the early 2000s to now you've got the interpreter. Why is an interpreter out there?
Well, remember Raciel Iglesias, the closer, some peanuts on the field or sunflower seeds.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. And like I said, the guy that took over, Ray Montgomery, the bench coach who worked in the front office prior to this year, was rumored to be the guy they wanted to replace Joe Madden when his contract ran up. And now it's Phil Nevin. So, hey, if you're Ray Montgomery, you're like, well, I already got to win. I've managed one game. I got to win. This could look good for me interviewing for a job at the end of the year.
So let me say this too, for essentially how many teams make the playoffs in the American League?
Is it 6 now?
So you've got 3 teams that are going to win your division. Or not your division, a division.
Correct.
Okay, so you're going to have a team in the – I got the standings right in front of me. You got the East, you got the Central, you got the West. There's your 3. Now, you start looking at the top teams in baseball in the American League, they're all in the East. So if you're in the Central, your old buddy Tony La Russa,
no.
You're not – unless we see – a dramatic shift, which is possible. Someone can tank, anything can happen, right? Someone can just go on a total dumpster dive. But unless there's a dumpster dive, if you're a team in the Central, you essentially have to win the Central. You're not making the playoffs.
Correct. And I think we can, I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, but it's pretty close that the wild card teams are going to come from the AL East. Unless
something dramatically happens. We are what's called forecasting right now. Yeah. You can be wrong on your forecasting. Like when they said inflation was transitory, they were forecasting and they were wrong. When they said gas prices weren't going to get too crazy, they were forecasting, they were wrong. We're doing the same thing, so we could be wrong too. But as of right now, what you're saying is Boston at 42-32. And by the way, they're playing Toronto right now, which is a great series. If you like just good baseball, Boston-Toronto is a very good series. Toronto won yesterday in game 1. Are they playing 3 or 4?
That's a good question.
They are playing a 3-game set. Toronto won yesterday.
They shut them out yesterday? When I was watching, it was 4-0.
It wasn't a shutout. But Boston's 19-5 in June, tied for the second best record with the Braves. Yeah, the Yankees have the best record in June. So Boston, Toronto, and Tampa Those are your wild card teams right there. That's 4, 5, and 6 in the playoffs.
Yeah, and
so if you're Phil Nevin getting back, bring the train back. Do we have somebody at 130?
No.
If Phil Nevin wants to retain his job, I'm going to say it right here. As I said, I made the prediction yesterday.
It wasn't a prediction. It was a guarantee.
It was a guarantee.
It was a guarantee, Joe.
I guaranteed Yankees won't go to win the World Series. I should have guaranteed they won't even go to the World Series. But I guaranteed you the Yankees won't win the World Series. I'm going to give you another one. For Phil Nevin to retain his job. Now, after all of this, the hurdle just got bigger. The hurdle went whoop, way up. Angels got to make the playoffs. He's got to be able to sell that what I did against the Mariners, yeah, it might have looked bad, but it turned these guys around. It hit the reset button. I need my guys to get tougher. I need Trout. I need Ohtani. I need all these guys. I need Walsh. I need all these guys to be tougher. Syndergaard's got to grow a pair. He's got to play all that. And because of what we did against the Mariners, that fight brought us together as a team, and we made the postseason. That's the only way Manassian, Artie Moreno, that's the only way you're going to be able to sell this guy for him to keep his job at the end. You're an interim manager. You're interviewing for a job on the job, and you just got suspended for 10 games. That's a bad look.
Yeah, real quick. I'm drawing a blank on the guy that took over for Joe Girardi, but the Phillies are 39.
Thompson.
Yeah, but forget his first name. Was it Bob or Rod? No, it's not Robbie
Thompson. Not Robbie Thompson. Not Bobby Thompson.
They're 39-35 though, so they were plummeting before.
Not Clay Thompson.
Yeah, or Trace Thompson, his brother with the Dodgers. Michael, his dad,
just had a big hit.
Yeah,
or Michael Thompson, the great Laker.
They're 4 games over, and they're trying to make a run in the NL. Where now they lost Bryce Harper for 6 weeks, and they're hoping he'll get back. But still, he's turned the ship around. Where the Angels are still 4 games under. Look at it this way: the Baltimore Orioles are 35-40. They are 1 win away.
Orioles are about to have their first.
No, they already clinched it.
They clinched their first winning month
since August of 2017.
I saw that on MLB Network today.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing what I see on the pre-core. But as I'm sitting there doing it, I'm like, oh my God, they have been bad.
Yeah, but
Adley Rutschman hit a bomb yesterday.
All his family's there because he's from Portland. They're playing a lot better. Their bullpen is a lot of people don't know their bullpen is very good in Baltimore.
Oh, they were good remember when the A's were playing them, they're like, hey, listen, I remember, no offense, it was somebody was doing A's pre and post game live and was like, oh, I just think, the A's got to get to their bullpen. You're like, that's actually Baltimore's strength. I mean, it was somebody who's not a baseball person. It was, people got to fill in. It is what it is. But I was like, what? No, we don't want to get in there. You want that starter to be out there as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because that has been a strength for the Orioles, has been their bullpen.
Yeah, their bullpen has been great, where the A's have if you want to go ERA-wise, the A's have the second worst bullpen ERA in the American League behind only the Royals.
It's terrible. Hey, how about this? All right, never mind. Go ahead. I was about to
No. I was just saying, like the AL East is really competitive, and Baltimore's right there. I mean, they're not going anywhere.
Whoa,
they're not going anywhere this year. But
they're 35-40.
But I'm saying they're 35-40. That's pretty impressive. Look at the AL Central. Kansas City 26 wins, Detroit 28 wins, Tony and the White Sox 34 wins.
I've been trying to tell people this. You want to go how many teams are under 500 in baseball? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
15. The 2 in the
14, 15. Half the league is under 500.
Yeah, it's not good.
Half of all teams are under 500. I've been telling you, there is no middle ground. You're either here or you're here. And that is the system you play in. And if you want to not have that system, you got to have a salary cap. Even though some of the teams that are under 500 are teams spending money, I get it. Nothing's perfect. But if you want everybody playing it, if you want everybody to fish in the same pond, you want everybody to fish off the same pier. You want everybody hunting in the same woods. I mean, I can go all day with this. You all want to trick or treat in the same neighborhood.
That's a good one.
You got to have a salary cap.
Since that's your big holiday.
Halloween is my big thing. I will throw up pictures this year. You know what? Since we're now on video, I'll do a whole video thing on my Halloween.
Probably not a bad idea. Get a lot of views on that.
I haven't had my big Halloween party in 2 years. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, hopefully I'm invited.
You were invited to the last one.
Yeah, well, remember, the next day is my birthday, so it's a big celebration for me. Just me only. No one has to celebrate my birthday.
No, who's going to care? You're turning like 34.
Wow. Very good.
Yeah, who cares?
Next year's a big one.
34 is nothing.
Next year's 35. I think we're going to go to Vancouver for my birthday.
30 is a big deal because you're now out of your 20s.
Oh, I agree.
For
sure.
Like if you're in your 20s and you're like, I'm 25, I'm 26. Then you hit 29 and you're like, wow. And then you hit 30 and you go, God, I'm in my 30s. So your teenage years are well behind you. You're a young adult, but now you got to start moving here in your 30s. You got to start making advancements. Because if you don't start making advancements in your 30s, which some people are having this new generation is having a problem with their 30s. 30s, you got to start making hay because the 30s springboard you into your 40s. And that's where you got to really be rocking. And your 50s, because that's it. And then once you hit your 60s, you're now looking, how am I winding down in life? Not exactly. You can still be physically fit, physically active, but when you're in your 60s, you're probably looking at grandchildren. You're starting to look into life you're in a different world. But yeah, you're 30. Yeah, you're fine. 34. I didn't trip on 40. A lot of people trip on 40.
But did you on 50?
No, you saw me on 50.
No, that's true.
Was I tripping? I wasn't. I don't trip on birthdays.
No, I think I was looking forward to 30. And 25 is cool because you get a reduction in your car insurance. But
God, you're cheap. You think about stuff like that. Unbelievable.
But what do you have to look forward to?
Unbelievable.
After 30, what do you look forward to? Getting a senior citizen discount at a restaurant?
Unbelievable. After 30?
Yeah.
This is the prime of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when you need to go buy a home. This is when you stop being a renter. This is when you get into the prime of your life. You're heading into your prime years. No more hand a check over to somebody renting. Start,
what the hell's a check?
Start having kids. Start having a family. Be an adult. Be a man. That's what you need to start doing in your 30s.
I'll buy a house eventually.
Yeah.
When we can afford it.
You prepare for that in your 20s and your 30s.
Oh, my wife's been saving. I mean, I have too, but nowhere near as much.
You don't be like, we're going to Pismo Beach for the 12th time this year. You don't do that. You sacrifice in your life. Make sacrifices.
But we stay for free. It's like I'm paying for it.
Oh, that gas you worry about.
Well, I don't go now.
It's cheap.
I'm going to take Amtrak next time. It might cost just as much.
Amtrak.
We
do have fans that take like from Sacramento down the what's it called? The corridor?
Capital Corridor.
Capital Corridor.
You can take Amtrak too.
I like the train.
I do too. Caltrain to San Francisco is the best.
Yeah. I mean, you can have beverages on there. They got bathrooms. You take it all the way up into the city. You can take it all the way back.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about driving and parking in the city.
Oh, I love taking the train.
It's
old school.
That's how I used to get to work when we worked in San Francisco a lot. I mean, then I started driving because I had to. But when I didn't have to, train every time. So it's like BART to the Coliseum. Now that we have one in San Jose, taking BART to the Coliseum is awesome from San Jose.
Everything was all fun and games for me until, unfortunately, someone took their life with the train, and I got stuck at the Palo Alto.
Oh, yeah.
For like almost 3 hours.
It happened to me once before, too.
And luckily, was it Palo Alto? I think it was Palo Alto. There was a restaurant right over, and it was Monday Night Football. So I was able to go over there and have dinner and watch the football game. But part of the problem is you don't know when the train is going. But it was like for 3 hours had to wait.
Yeah, this is probably prior to Uber, I'm assuming.
No, Uber was going on.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying because I mean,
But you've already paid for the train. I mean, you're
Yeah.
like, you're going to wait for the train. I sat there, watched football and had dinner, but it was like I waited for like 3 hours. There are so many times where, you don't have the idiots next to you in your car.
true.
Right?
That's why I like taking.
You don't have the person that smells next to you in your car. There are a lot of advantages to having your car.
Yeah, I like taking the train for, like you said, if you want to have a few beverages when you're going somewhere in the city, and you don't have to sit in traffic. The train just keeps rolling along.
Can we help Frankie Montas today? I mean, do you think the players
help him how? Win a game or?
Yeah.
Because I hope you're not talking about increasing his trade value.
Do you think the players know how bad they've been behind him?
They'll say no, they don't know, they don't pay attention to that, but I think they know.
I mean, Frankie Montas, the A's have lost 11 of his 12 starts. 11 of his last 12, I should say.
Yeah, 12 of his last 15.
They've lost 11 of 12, and during that time, Frankie has a 3.11 ERA.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I looked over his last 6 starts as overall. He's 1-3 of the 2.77. Like that's all going back to the start where he only won an inning and 2/3.
I mean, at what point, once again, at what point you got to have pride? And I know it's easy to say from a studio and I got makeup on and all that kind of stuff. But part of the problem is when you go out and you make blunders and you have bad numbers and you do it in Oakland, nobody cares. No offense, but nobody cares. You now go to New York and you're playing the Yankees when the Yankees are on another historic run and you do it in New York, now everybody's watching. Against the Royals in Oakland, basically only people in the Bay Area and Kansas City are watching. When the Yankees are playing, you have the whole Eastern Seaboard's watching. And all the people that cover this game, everybody at MLB Network, everybody at ESPN, everybody is watching what the Yankees are doing. Why? Because the Yankees get ratings. And so anything the Yankees do, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, it's going to be showcased. And when you look like a buffoons out there against the Yankees, everybody's going to see it. Now you can go on your merry way, and after this, go to Seattle and be playing games at 7. What time do the Mariners play these days? Everybody's switched.
Well, let's see. Our games against them on Thursday and Friday, I believe we're at 7:10.
That's 10:10 on the East Coast, so nobody's watching. So you can blunder your way around and not hit and do all this thing, play bad defense and have a bullpen that can't get anybody out. You can do all that in Seattle starting at 7:10 West Coast time, 10:10 on the East. Nobody cares. You just become a part of a little highlight package on Quick Pitch on MLB Network. You may get one highlight on SportsCenter. Maybe. You do it at Yankee Stadium with the Yankees, and it's going to lead the A block. A block is the first block, the most important block of the television show. So if you got a highlight show like Quick Pitch, SportsCenter, the first series of stuff you see is the A block. You're now making the A block. And everybody's watching and everybody's seeing it. And they're just not going to put up the score, winner, loser, save, hits, errors. They're just not going to do that. They're going to play a bunch of highlights. I've now seen a bunch of highlights from our game yesterday. I saw it when I got off the air last night. I saw it this morning, and I saw it working out. Everybody in baseball got to see this. If you didn't know who Sean Murphy is, Big Murph. Guess what? They all saw you, and they saw you with 2 catcher's interferences and 2 errors. Correct me where I'm wrong. Fact check me.
You're not wrong.
This is what they're saying. The baseball world is now seeing you.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, it's intensified because you're playing in New York against the Yankees.
And just not playing it, you're playing the Yankees when they're on a great run.
I mean,
and if the Yankees were under 500, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But the Yankees are under 500. The Yankees are looking to become the 5th team in the live ball era. Do you know when the live ball era started?
1920.
1920. They're looking to be the 5th team to win 55 of their first 75. Joining can you name them? You heard me do it already.
Yeah, but I know the 1929 Oakland Athletics or Philadelphia Athletics.
The 1928 Yankees, the 1929 Philadelphia A's. That team was 55-20.
01 Mariners.
01 Mariners.
98 Yankees.
And 98 Yankees. So they're on a historic run. So they should be getting all the love they're getting. They're doing it. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff for you. The Yankees are 23-20 in games where they have trailed this season. Best record in baseball. That's impressive.
Yeah, that actually really is.
That's really impressive. Each of the Yankees' last 4 victories, they've come from behind from 3 runs or more. That's impressive. Yankees lead Major League Baseball in home runs in June. 54. 54. That's 3 more than the A's have hit all season. They've hit more home runs in June than the A's have hit all season. Do you know the record for most home runs in a month?
I mean, I know what the record for the season is, not a month.
Do you know what the record is for June? Do you want to take a
65?
Let me get my do you have more of this?
I do.
Cody, if you weren't paying attention to yesterday's show, Cody brought me Liquid Death. I want this on the table. So I want you to bring another one so I can try it. I don't want to open this.
I should be able to take one out of the case. Told you it's friend left it over. 65 home runs.
Most home runs in the month of June ever is 56.
Oh.
Accomplished, as you know. By the way, I hate when people are talking to me, they go, as you know, because basically they're saying you don't know, right? When people have a conversation, well, as you know.
Well, hey, by the way.
What the hell does that mean? I know I don't know. And I don't have and once again, I don't have a problem saying I don't know. I will pat myself on the back because a good host will always bring it back to him. I'm going to tell you why so many A's fans, you were wrong and I was right. We're going to play a little game. I'm right, you're wrong coming up here.
Okay.
And you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
You don't. And it goes to all the call. What's the number one thing downloaded off athletics.com?
A's Cast?
Nope.
Oh, the postgame show.
Postgame show. We call it the Clubhouse Show. It used to be A's Talk, Clubhouse Show. It's changed. But it's the number one show by far. When we do all these shows and all the stuff that's downloaded, what show is downloaded by so much more than anything else you can't even put them in the same class?
The Clubhouse Show.
All right. Callers on the Clubhouse Show, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm going to prove it. And what's cool is what I appreciate so much is so many of you download the show because you can't stay up late at night, so you listen to it in the morning. Maybe you're working out, you're going for a walk. I encourage everybody to get out and do some exercise every day. And the Clubhouse Show is a great way. It's about an hour. Depends how angry I am. Sometimes I'll go longer. Depends on how much coffee I've had. Sometimes I'll go an hour and a half. Sometimes I've been known to go for 3. Robert Costa does everything he can to keep me from going long, but I go long. So if you want an hour and 20 workout, I am your guy. All right. 56 was done by the Orioles in 2016 and the Braves in 2019, the most in June. The most ever, to educate all of us, I didn't know this, most home runs in a single month ever was August of 2019. Think about this. The Yankees hit 74 home runs in 2019 in August.
That was in 19?
19.
That was the year they finished with 306 home runs.
74 home runs in a month.
That's impressive. I vaguely remember that run they won on with those home runs.
By the way, their place is a bandbox. Like Rizzo's home run yesterday is a joke. But It is what it is. You play where you play. Oh, speaking of that, Forbes Field. Did you see that on High Heat?
I heard about
our guy Mad Dog Russo did the tribute to your Pittsburgh home
52 years ago, I believe it was.
That Forbes Field closed down on this date. They had a doubleheader, and this was it. And after this, they would go play at Three Rivers. That dump.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a great ball. It was at first.
Did you know that the Steelers played games at Forbes Field?
No. I knew that, obviously, the Pirates did. They still have part of the wall in Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. It's all covered by, like, ivy and plants.
Like University at Pitt, University of Pittsburgh. You got to remember, years ago, Pitt football was legit. I mean, you produced Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino.
When you say years ago, you're talking about 50 years ago. They were legit. 45.
Dan Marino's not that old.
I'm thinking of Dorsett. Okay, so 40 years ago.
Dan Marino, they were legit.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything since.
I'm trying to help out you Western Pennsylvania people here.
They've had one quarterback drafted in the first one quarterback that's been legit since Dan Marino, and he just got drafted this year.
So you stop cheating, you stop losing. It is what it is. And now everybody's going to be in the SEC, by the way.
Yeah, well, what you're saying, though, the Steelers, and I didn't know that they both played that.
What do you think about that, Roxy Bernstein, in your soft Pac-12? Everybody's now going to be in the SEC as Texas and Oklahoma are going.
Does it matter? Because Texas has Arch Manning now, Peyton's nephew.
Yeah.
They're going to be on TV every week.
They're on TV every week anyway. They have their own network.
I know, but
Texas has their own.
So what is it?
Hey, A's fans, we have A's Cast. The University of Texas has their own cable network.
Yeah.
Texas. That's how big the University of Texas is. We've got A's Cast. We're happy just to be on YouTube and Twitter. They have their own cable network.
Yeah. Oh,
they're not. Okay, I guess they'll be a part of the SEC network. Texas has their own. Not Pac-12, not Big Ten, not SEC, not ACC. They have their own Longhorn network. That's how big the University of Texas is. Think Arch Manning will be any good?
We'll see.
Let's see. His grandfather was a great NFL quarterback. His dad was a great wide receiver until he had the spinal issue. His uncle is top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Peyton Manning?
I don't disagree with that. I think he is. I would say higher, but then I hear people go, well, Joe Montana and Marino.
Montana's up there.
So is Marino, but I think Peyton's.
Brady's up there. Brady's up there. Peyton's up there. Then his other uncle won 2 Super Bowls, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I got to think if I had to put money on Arch Manning, I mean, yeah, if he's a stock, I got to buy high, but I think long-term I'll make my money.
Yeah, I think he'll have a nice little career.
I think he'll have a little bit of a career.
You were throwing out Yankee stats. I was going to throw you one more. They've had 74 games this year. Their starting 5 has started 71 of the 74 games.
They're what?
They're 5 starters. Cole, Nasty Nestor, Jameson Tyone, Jordan Montgomery, and Luis Severino started 71 of their 74 games this year.
That's impressive, but you know what? They don't scare me in a series.
Well, you're not afraid of Nasty Nestor?
Nope. And I knowing how everybody works now, you know, it's like funny. I mean, Vince brought this up to me. Oh, but you know, Garrett Cole, last year they had him in Game 7.
That was bad.
What the hell's Garrett Cole done? And by the way, would I bet Garrett Cole even goes 6 innings in a playoff game?
Probably not.
Do you read that again? Jameson Tyone, that Pittsburgh Pirate. Isn't that the guy from the Pirates?
Well, so is Garrett Cole.
Yeah. Read me that. Tell me how scared. I'm sitting there. Let's say I'm a red-hot team, right? I've finished the season. I've got the it factor. I'm the Atlanta Braves of last year. Is that a good example?
Yeah, they were good.
I'm going to close my eyes. I'm Ron Washington, the Atlanta Braves. Read that to me again.
Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, Jameson Tyone, Jordan Montgomery, and Luis Severino have started 71 of the Yankees' 74 games this year.
I'm not afraid of that.
They have a new guy starting today, by the way.
J.P. Sears.
It's his second start, I believe, this year.
You're like
He's 2-0.
J.P. Sears, last pitch for the Yanks on May 25th. He threw 5 scoreless to beat the Orioles. You fear the lefty J.P. Sears?
I had to look.
When's the last time you've been to Sears?
Oh, I got tires down there a couple of years ago.
Working at Sears sucks, Crash. Selling Lady Kenmore's. Have you ever seen Bull Durham?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought that was pretty impressive for them because usually their pitching's been so up and down, but they've been pretty consistent this year. Especially, I mean, Nestor Cortez has been a revelation for them. But Montgomery, A's got to him early, and then he pitched well the rest of the time. Tyone's been healthy. Severino's been healthy now. Who knows? Maybe they'll add someone at the deadline.
Frankie Montas, according to Peter Gammons. Peter Gammons is saying, what's Peter Gammons saying? The Hall of Famer, Peter Gammons, reported in The Athletic that Yankees GM Brian Cashman is going to make a run at Montas.
The thing with the Yankees is you're not going to get their number one guy, Jason Dominguez. No, sorry, their number one guy is the shortstop. I'm drawing a blank on
the
his
new
name.
Jeter.
Yeah, essentially, who's not hitting in Double-A. It's like them are the two top guys. I doubt the Yankees get those guys up, but they'll give away a bunch of quality. They do more. They'll do quality over or quantity over quality is what they'll do. They'll give you like 5 guys that are like in their top like 15 to 20. Anthony Volpis is the shortstop, by the way. Volpe.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of Pate. If he doesn't hit in the minors, why do you think he's going to hit the big league level?
It's fair. I don't know. I mean, let me see what Volpe's actually hitting.
Tell me what Pate hit in the minor leagues.
I'm on Volpe right now. 21 years old. Hit a walk-off home run the other night. I guess that's a big deal in minor leagues. This year, Volpe is hitting .238 with 10 home runs and 37 RBI for the Yankees as their number one prospect. Christian Pate. See what he did in the minors. Then 163 this year, negative 0.6 WAR. Well, I thought his defense would help increase that. Maybe that's what's keeping him from being lower. His career in the minors, he hit .280 with 32 home runs and 215 runs driven in. Last year at AAA Gwinnett for the Braves, 265, 11 homers, 44 RBI.
He hit way better than I thought. I thought it was lower than that.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're hoping that the bat will come around eventually for him, but the A's did get an outfielder back today.
So AAA 267. Double A
274.
274.
285 in high A. Whoa. He was really good in the rookie league at 309.
That definitely boosts up the overall average.
Did you see the Piscotty's back?
Yeah.
If anyone didn't know, Stephen Piscotty back, Jonah Bride to the injured list.
Yeah, shoulder for Jonah Bride. What I saw on the ticker.
Yeah,
I didn't read. Do we get an email?
Yeah, it's let's see. I think I have it in here. Yep, strained right shoulder for Jonah Bride, retroactive to June. So retroactive to yesterday.
So I'm going to say I'm wrong. Pate hit better than I thought in the minors.
280 is 267 at AAA is not bad. I mean, you're facing guys that are most likely going to be major leaguers or probably were major leaguers and back in AAA working.
I take it back. He hit better. He hit better than I thought. Is he hell on wheels? No, but he hit better than I thought. I'll give him that. I mean, the other day, it was funny. The other day, he was hitting 108 in June. 2 hits. Just getting 2 hits took his batting average from 108 to like 147 in June. But, I mean, we're months in, and it's still a major league struggle.
Speaking of June, I don't want to bring this up.
Don't bring it up then.
Well, it's just like, hey, no disrespect, but hold on, I'm going to disrespect you.
Tell me about, I'm going to give you a guy. You want positivity? I'm going to give you a guy, Seth Brown.
Friend of the program.
Seth Brown is hitting 440, 2 jacks, 5 RBIs the last 6 games. Has the lineup out yet? Is he going to be in today based off that this J.P. Sears guy is a left-handed pitcher?
Let's find out. The lineup today is Nick Allen leading off, Ramon, Christian Bethancourt, Murph, Piscotty DHing, Elvis, Pinder, Noisy, Pache.
Piscotty's at put up or shut up time?
I think so.
Is that where we're at? Like, all right, Listen, Bay Area kid, we know everything you've been through. We're rooting for you, your family. The whole thing is a great story, but we got to get back to baseball here. Can you stay healthy, and can you produce? You're our highest paid player, right?
Yes, he is. Actually, I think he is. Well, it depends on what's we don't know the deals on.
Yeah,
on
Elvis, they're paying like $7 million of his $7.25. Texas pays the salary.
Okay, so yeah, then he would, because Frankie got like $5 million, I think, in arbitration. So yeah,
I think Piscotty is our highest paid guy,
and he's played in how many games this year?
Hey, Seth Brown's hitting 256, 5 jacks in June. He teases you, by the way. Seth Brown is the kind of guy that there are nights where you go, God, this guy can play, right? This guy's got power. This guy can go the other way. This guy can run. He can play. He can play right. He can play all 3 outfield positions,
for sure,
including center. Play first. He's not going to embarrass you at first. I mean, he's a versatile guy. There's times where you go, whoo, and then there's other times it's maddening, right? Like May wasn't a great month. He hit 222 in May. He hit 194 in April. So he's heating up a little bit, but he's a great story. I would love to see Seth Brown really, maybe really playing against righties, staying away from lefties will help out.
Yeah.
And he becomes a weapon off the bench, when the lefty starter comes out.
Doesn't he also lead the team in home runs? Kind of have to have him in the lineup.
Well, the A's have only hit 51 on the season.
But he has 10 of them, though, so he has a fifth of their home runs.
The Yankees have more home runs this month than we have total.
Yeah, that's never good, especially in this kind of the environment baseball is in right now.
It's the Humidor's fault. It's the Humidor's fault. Coming up next, Doug Glanville, one of our favorites, the professor. This guy, a professor at UConn, was a former player, was really good, now turned broadcaster, joins us next right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
August 6th is International Trading Card Day, and Topps wants to celebrate with you. Visit your participating local hobby shop, where you will receive a free pack of cards, plus a special card if you purchase $10 or more of Topps products, while supplies last. Post your packs on social media using the hashtag ToppsITCD, and follow along with @Topps. Visit Topps.com for more information.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Hey Ace fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more.
Outside corner, ring him up.
And Eaton can't believe it.
Grab the crew and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
Innovation that's at the heart of Cal State East Bay, like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students map genes from California's endangered plants, or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
Hitting the road with the family. On your way to nonstop adventures. No worries ahead, because you know you can stop at a Chevron station along the way. Get fuel for your car, fuel for your crew. That's Chevron with Techron for unbeatable mileage and snacks for all. Coffee for mom, chips for the kids, cold drinks for dad. You know, for the road ahead. Toss in some laughs, out-of-tune singing, and a zillion "Are we there yet?" And you just made lifelong family memories. Chevron, together ahead.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Red, white, blue, and baseball too. You won't want to miss 4th of July fireworks after the A's game on July 4th. Ticket packages for 4 tickets plus parking start at just $39. Find your seats at athletics.com. Don't miss the A's July 4th post-game fireworks show presented by 7-Up.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, we mention it all the time when we have him on. He's the smartest guy in baseball. Nobody better. How are you? It's been a while.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing well. I can't complain. Yeah.
I gotta think for you, like what? Like finals, school, everything's over, and you can just concentrate on baseball now.
Well, no, this semester, once I found out I was going to do Sunday night radio with ESPN,
yeah.
I realized, like, wait a minute, it's going to be a lot to teach in the same semester where I'm doing the playoffs and, all the pennant race stuff. So I decided that it'd be better if I just taught in the spring where you start in January, you don't have the conflict. So, but I'm still paying attention to the materials and chiming in when I can, but I'm looking towards the spring semester to kick it in gear.
So what is it like for you now as your career is expanding and you start looking at the different things that you're doing? Like you said, now we're going to be talking about postseason and everything. So what's going on and how great is this for your career?
I mean, it's great. What's so interesting is I realized all those years at ESPN, I hadn't done really any playoffs, or I'm like this year, I'm calling the All-Star game on radio with John Shambi. I haven't done any of that stuff. I mean, I was a studio guy mostly. And when I did Wednesday night baseball, I was focused towards the season. And really, we knew the marquee games were really Sundays. So what I love about it is radio, it's a little more low key. You don't have all the production elements like meetings around like what graphics you're using. It's just like, hey, get your information, figure out what's important to share with the fans. And what's cool is, we've been a lot of isolation the last couple of years. I hadn't seen guys for a long time. I've been at Cubs stuff, but I haven't been able to travel the same way. So it's good to find out, like, oh, Tomas Perez is coaching,
yeah.
Whatever, just old teammates, So that part has been really fun, and I love it. I write a poem before every game, and I read it, and they just say, hey, whatever you want to do. So I'm really enjoying it.
when we look around baseball, we were just talking about it, and we'll get into about the Yankees and the A's, and because I think it's an interesting dynamic between the team with the best record and the team with the worst record, and kind of where baseball is. And one of the ways to look at this is just to look at the standings. And when you see we're not in July yet, and half the teams are not 500, what does that tell you about the sport?
I mean, that's a good point. And you do see, you wonder where that line is to be have and have nots, right? And the decision for the teams that are below that line, what their decision-making process is going to be. Are they going to say, well, hey, let's just build for the future and then effectively become farm teams for the teams that are making that push? I know they added another couple of playoff teams, but even that is above the line. And I think it should be. I don't think teams like under 500 should make the postseason when you play 162 games. I mean, that's a lot of evidence right there. But there's no doubt that things are sorting out after we had the shortened 2020 season, and you wanted to see, with that playoff format where they had all these wild card teams, and you wanted to see how things would reset. And look, resources matter. And although there's teams that, like the A's, have found ways to win, to just be able to have that extra push to, acquire someone at the deadline, or just have the depth that the Dodgers have where they have like 18 all-stars. I mean, yeah, you're in a better driver's seat. There's no question about that. And it's something that baseball is constantly trying to address. And, maybe the lottery system and draft, so maybe things will help a little bit, but there's still an elephant in the room.
If you are running the A's and you got Frankie Montas, who a lot of people, and Peter Gammons real well, and Peter Gammons is reporting that Brian Cashman wants to come out after Frankie. His last outing, he had a no-hitter into the 8th inning. You're now pitching on this big stage. Yankees are the best team in baseball. Everybody's watching every moment. You go out again as Frankie Montas, have another good inning. How do you handle it? Do you want those phone calls rolling in right now, or do you want to wait till the very end and try and find a GM who is the most desperate, or a couple super desperate GMs who are fighting each other at the very end to get Frankie?
Well, the advantage the A's have in this particular case, and some of it is a shame. We have to acknowledge that. But the advantage they have is all these teams will be interested. And pitching has been, there was a shortage of it to some degree, even going into postseason. Once you got past Max Scherzer and a couple, it was like, who are the free agents? So they are in control. And that way you can go out and say, hey, what pieces are we looking to add? And then work that way. What team is going to give us the best shot of building where we want to go, and whether it's by position or by depth or experience. So that's the advantage, because it's not just the Yankees that are going to come knocking. It's not just who's going to pay the biggest price. It's like, what prospects, if you're making that move, is gonna bolster your organization going forward. So I think they're still in a good position, and they just have to decide those pieces of what elements there are. And right now, look, the A's are struggling. I mean, they have, last in batting average and run score. They're in such a rebuild mode that a lot of pieces are necessary. But the question is, when you get these young pieces, what happens? Do you just turn them over and rototill them into like some other organization, or can you actually add the pieces to now go to the next level? And it remains to be seen based on this season.
And there is, I'm finding a debate on how, when you get those pieces, how to handle it, because I look at other sports, but then old school baseball people want to say, oh, you can't compare baseball. And I go, wait a minute, why not? Old school people want, if I draft Doug Glanville, or if I trade for Doug Glanville, I want to stick you in the minors for X amount of at-bats, X amount of innings pitched. And I'm going, wait a minute. I can look around at the Atlanta Braves. They got a bunch of guys who are 22, 23. I mean, how long do I really want to see guys in the minor leagues in modern day baseball when I'm watching these other teams start to bring guys up 25 or younger? Let's go. Do you still subscribe to, I got to keep you in the minor leagues for 1,500 bats, or, hey, man, I got to see this guy play, because we know we don't want to pay guys in their 30s.
I'll tell you make an excellent point, and I wanted to sort of repeat that message. What you're looking at now is you have these young guys that are productive, like right away. They're coming up and they're able to produce. And you think, let's go back to the Chicago Cubs 2016 team. you have Chris Bryant. You had guys that kind of produced beyond their years, and so when you have guys like that, what you're able to do is when you acquire the pieces, you already have the productivity. It's not like, oh, let me get like a middle of the order guy that's going to do now, because you already have young guys that are doing that. And that's the best of all worlds, because you have a longer horizon of productivity. Rizzo, all these cats that they were part of. And so the expectation is skewed younger now, that when you have Acuna Juniors and Tatis and all these cats that are like producing right away, they're stars, then it doesn't give you as long a horizon of patience to be like, wait a minute, why aren't these guys like, yeah, fine, they're young. They are young, 22. I mean, I got drafted at 20 going to 21. So I understand that from one level, but these guys are producing. And so you have to try to find that combination, ideally, that you have a young guy who's beyond his years in productivity and maturity. And then you're able to have a lot more freedom when you add the other pieces of experience. So yes, I think you can challenge the A's or challenge the organization, say, wait a minute, like, how are we doing this? Because being young is not enough of an answer anymore. And so in terms of what I subscribe to, I have a sensibility around learning all the facets of the game, right? Okay, that's great. You can hit, whatever, but can you run the bases? Can you slide? Do you know how to do, that's not as necessary today, because there's so much focus on the specialization of what's important. Do you get on base? Do you hit for some power? Are you a guy who throws 100 miles an hour? Yeah, you're in the zone, maybe, whatever, but that's not. So I think there is a missing piece and a loss to development when you just focus on one element to say this is what makes you ready. But that is the game today, and if you need a guy throwing 100, you get the next guy, right? And then you bring him in, whether he can hit the corner or if the guy's throwing 100 and with movement, you don't have to hit a whole lot of corners. Okay, that's what we're looking at today.
Yeah, I look at the game and from development, and I like to bring golf into it, because golf and baseball are very similar now with the way everybody's using TrackMan and Hawkeye and the way baseball uses StatCast. I like to call them, whether in golf you're a range warrior or in baseball you're a batting cage or a bullpen warrior, where people are going to tell you all these different numbers about vertical, horizontal, spin rates, how hard you throw it, launch, and all this kind of stuff. But then once you have all these numbers, like on the range in golf, you can hit the ball a bazillion yards, but you got to go out and play golf. What happens when you short side yourself or you don't, you got to go out and actually play the game to score. Baseball's the same way. You can sit in the bullpen, throw 100, and you can have a little moment. If you can't throw strikes, or if you're somebody who goes up to the plate, you can't run the bases, you can't play defense. So we have learned about all these great numbers where we can track what human beings and what kind of human you are, but do you know how to actually play the game when it's game time? That's something we need to get better at.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. And all these sports, it's not just baseball or just society, the algorithms, the data is such a driver. Now, I appreciate that, especially as like a center fielder where I wanted value to be seen in my defense. And there wasn't a whole lot of metrics saying, hey, this is why you're an asset. So I applaud the idea of trying to find value. And the A's, look, they were a big part of this, because they started to see value in players that wasn't necessarily on the surface, in the traditional ways. So there's a definite positive there. But what it does, if you skew it so far one direction, you do lose a lot of the human element. Like a perfect example is this. Like I can say, all right, I'm on second base and I could steal third right now. So now the numbers will tell you, well, if I get caught, let's say it's 1 out or something, I get caught, the probability, my run probability, my chance of scoring a run, my run the expectations, I'm saying this wrong, but terms wise, but the chances of me, right. So the chance of me scoring a run, if I get caught, let's say that goes down by 80%. But then if I make it, it only goes up by 40%, right? So what you start to look at is saying, well, if I steal this base, that what I've risked and what I lose by getting caught is much greater than what I gain by making it. And when you start to look at every equation like that, it's pretty easy to see why you just eliminate the stolen base altogether, right? So why take the risk? And the thing about, to me, the joy of the game or any sport or anything is actually the low percentage play. It's the excitement of the impossible happening. And if you don't put a position, like a pitcher in a position to say, well, what would happen if I go into the 7th here? Individually, you do lose that, and you lose the warriors of the game, like, Fernando Valenzuela versus Tom Seaver. Like, yeah, let's just see who can go 12 innings, and that's kind of marketable. I used to love looking in the box for, Steve Carlton versus Fernando, or Mario Soto versus, Ron Guidry or whatever, So there's trade-offs. And I think that when you talk about the humanity, the human element, you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that soul where everything's just numbers and stuff. Because, I remember talking to Barry Bonds at the cage one day, and he said, this is post-career, and he's like, okay, fine. You shift and put everybody all over the place. I get it. You might be able to keep me from hitting 400, but you're not going to keep me from hitting 300 with slugging percentage. Right? So now that's Barry Bonds. But the reality is, like, yeah, if a person knows how can play to that, he just hits it over the shift, right? And of course, your whole game changes around it. But you lose in the athleticism, hit and run, stealing bases, seeing guys just putting balls in play. All that can get lost in the algorithms. And I think that's where you have to try to do a reset.
I think of Al Davis. Was it a high percentage play to throw the ball deep? No, but Al Davis always wanted to throw deep because it kept everybody honest all the time. And like you said, not high percentage, but sometimes you got to do stuff. I mean, I've been watching it, and I've been saying it because I got to do TV hits before every game. And I go, I'm tired of watching us have a starting pitcher come out in the 5th or the 6th inning without 100 pitches thrown to go to a bullpen that the number says the bullpens aren't very good. We keep running this exact same playbook over and over and over again. I'm like, what is there? And Dave Stewart, who does our television for pre and post, I'll say to Stu, Stu, you never had a problem going 120 or 130. Why can't we just see if these guys can do it?
Well, I mean, look, we had Joe Madden on our podcast last couple of years, and he described it pretty well. He said, all right, think of the auto industry. He's like, everybody is making the same car because we have the same information, right? We're using it and we're trying to parse it. And yeah, some teams have more money, but you're kind of working off of this shared data set. And, and just so go back 80s or something, Cardinals on turf, and they're running, and the Harvey's Wallbangers and the Brewers, and these teams were so different, and they took on different personalities. But when you have all the data that's shared, then you're just trying to like out data someone, right? You're trying to, and you lose something in that because there's more to it. And look, like I said, I appreciate the science and the digging for information. You have the information. It's just like, we have all these cameras. You can't just make a call that everybody can see is wrong and just act like nothing happened. So you have to use the technology. But I think that you always have to push back and ask those questions so that you still maintain, like, well, what kind of game do we want? Because, yeah, like you said, Dave Stewart, guys going into the 9th inning, is that exciting? That could be exciting for the game. And when you always, like, I did the game the other day, it was Dodgers in Atlanta. Freddie Freeman came back. So I was calling the game. Tony Gonsolin's on the mound. This dude is 9-0 with like a 1.5. Now, granted, he didn't go always deep in the game. So 6th inning gets around, I think, and he gets 2 outs. He gives up a hit, he's out immediately. And we talked to Dave Roberts before the game, and he's like, that's probably what's going to happen. So there's no like, hey, let me see what Tony Gonsolin's going to do. And with 1st and 3rd, a little bit tired, but, see what we can get out of it, right? Because that builds something in Tony Gonsolin that if you get in this situation later, you're like, oh, I've been here before. But it's not. And so the counter, I guess, is like, well, it's not about the individual's development, right? It's not about him. It's about like, who's in the best position to get this out in this particular moment. And that's very different. But when you slice things into so many individual decision-making trees, it's very clear why you don't see the forest as well. And that's what we're battling a lot in baseball.
Interesting that you were in Atlanta. I want to get your take on the whole Freddie Freeman, how it went down. Like, we understand he comes back. He's an all-time Braves great, gets his ring, a lot of hugs. There's some tears, but it kept going for days. Now, obviously, I'm in my own world doing A's games, so I've only got to see a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball and everything. It was Clayton Kershaw that had, I don't know if you're going to say cryptic, but it was a comment basically saying, hey, I get it. It sucked to leave and everything, but you're one of us, right? Like, the importance is us. You're a Dodger now. What did you take away from that series Freeman's reactions, how some Dodger players took it. Just what was your overall take after the series?
I mean, I'll tell you, man, wow. I mean, it was wow. Like, I'm still kind of like processing being there, and also just like reading today about Freddie Freeman and his agent and all these things. Like,
Yeah.
wow. And so I think, well, let's take you to the moment. Like, yeah, it was really powerful. And we asked Dave Roberts in advance about all this stuff just to see. And so we're just like, well, what is it about? Okay, moving on. Like me coming up, they used to say, cut the cord. That's your, we used to kind of get on each other about like the teary-eyed past. But it is healthy, as Dave Roberts underscored. It's healthy. Like this. You were there for 12 years. It didn't play out like you thought. Clearly, it's even more than we understand in some ways. But he ended up in LA, and obviously a great team. But yeah, that's part of life, and you try to figure out how do you reconcile it. It can be painful for a long time, and he's clearly still devastated. But as Dave Roberts also said, Freddie Freeman's still an assassin in the batter's box. And by the way, he got the game-leading hit late in the game against his old team that he might be teary-eyed about. But he got in the box and he couldn't even compose himself. He was taking these deep breaths. He backed out. And Spencer Strider, the pitcher for the Braves, like stepped off the mound. I mean, it was deep. And this was just like the first at bat of the third game of the series. So I think there's a lot to do with it's hard to retain players for a lifetime. And if anybody was going to do it, we thought it was Freddie Freeman. Like we just felt, whether Aaron Judge or whatever, but Freddie Freeman was that guy because he's beloved across the sport, but also in Atlanta. He kind of belongs to all of us. So it doesn't matter where he plays because he just has that baseball about him, So that, it's a miss. And I get Alex Anthopoulos. He gets a guy who's younger, who's, good player, very good in Olsen. And he's like, hey, I got this guy for longer. And I'm, I got free agent years and I get the math of it. And Anthopoulos was choked up about it in making that move. But it just seemed like it's clear it did not go as Freddie Freeman expected. And that is clearly still devastating. And it's a big loss for everyone. But, baseball will continue to move on. But as for teammates, you got to be careful. You got to be careful being like, hey, why are you still like, he's still playing all-star baseball. Okay. He's still doing what he has to do. And it's very human, especially given the pandemic the last couple of years, to look and be like, hey, this is what I went through all these things with my family and these guys. It's still part of me. And it's made me who I am as a player, which I can deliver to the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to be a good team, no doubt. So, but yeah, there's a lot of pain there, man. A lot of pain still.
Yeah, very obvious too. You go through all that emotion, and then after the series, you dump your agent. So clearly he wanted to stay in Atlanta. Negotiations went sideways. At some point, we'll get the whole story. But that weekend, actions speak louder than words, as they like to say. And that was a very telling weekend. Before we let you go, let's you got to buy stock in one team. I said yesterday, I can look at the Yankee numbers. I know one thing. The Yankees hit home runs. They score runs by hitting home runs. That's why, and you can give me all the different things that they have going now with this team. But in the end, when they get into postseason baseball, they're so reliant on home runs. I'm not buying it. You may be buying it. If you could buy stock in one team, I think the Astros, what they just showed you versus the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. But if you could buy stock, National League, American League, we're almost in July, so we got a long way to go. But if you could buy stock in one team right now, who would that be?
Whew. That is a tough one. It might be the Dodgers. It might be the Dodgers. I mean, they have first of all, every time you're facing someone, they're an MVP or runner-up to an MVP or an all-star. I mean, they have 18 all-stars on it. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's also like the way they play, I've seen them play like so-so baseball, they play the Cubs, but they find different ways to beat you. They can beat you late, beat you with speed, they beat you with power, they Freddie Freeman you, whatever that, he should have his own verb in there. And they're also getting pitching from guys that are, maybe what you would say is unexpected. And that's something to be said, like that that they have confidence in being able to throw anybody out there in their roster and win. And Robert said, he's like, our biggest enemy is us like mismanaging this roster. He had no like weakness. He could say, he's like, well, if I run guys into the ground, I get them hurt. Yeah, that's going to hurt us. He didn't say like, I'm worried about the Astros or whoever. So, but yeah, it's people got to be healthy. That's what it comes down to. And I saw the Yankees, and they're really good. Their pitching and their bullpen, there's so many weapons. They're going to have to figure out how to use them. And Judge is just playing out of his mind, and that's. But will Judge stay healthy? Will Stanton stay healthy? I don't know. All of a sudden, when those guys aren't there, it's a different team. So, and that's happened enough to say that that's probably the rule, more the exception. So, and then the Mets, I look at the Mets and I see a team that's actually really good. Like they do a lot of different things. And I watched this lineup, and they're going the other way. They're beating the shift. You could see they have like a collective mentality around hitting to take what's given to them, and they're executing. So it's fun. I'll throw the Dodgers out there, but I want to see who makes what moves at the trade deadline, and then who's just fortunate enough to stay healthy.
Well, I got to tell you, it's always an honor to have you on the program. You always make our show that much smarter. Continued success with everything. The podcast with Jason Stark, the Hall of Famer. You mean a lot to our game. You're fantastic, and thank you so much. And let's do this again soon.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Always love being on, man. So just remember, love baseball, man. And it's like, it's for all of us. And I hope I use it for my show to bring people together. And, so we're all in this family, and we obviously clearly all love the game. So great to be on.
Great stuff. Be well.
All right, man. Take care.
The great Doug Glanville right here on A's Cast Live. He is phenomenal. Phenomenal, Cody.
I always like having Doug on. Smart guy. He went to Penn.
He's an Ivy League guy.
Yeah.
He's not one of these phony Pittsburgh, University of California, Pennsylvania guys. He's a legit University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League guys.
I know this is way
He's
past.
like one of those college guys.
This is way past when we had him on, but when we had John Mabry on, he also is in the same conference as myself and Lou Trevino. It's a lot of legends coming out of there. Joey Wendell's another one. It's a big deal.
But
I don't. Well, I would say conference, but who was the last guy to come on the Mountain West in baseball?
I mean, I was Big West, and your manager, Mark Kotze, was a guy I played against.
I mean, recently.
Phil Nevin, another Golden Spikes, now suspended, another guy I played against. Bobby Jones for the Mets, another Golden. I played against 3 Golden Spikes guys. 3.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Now everybody's in the SEC. It's not like it's the SEC and everybody else. Is anybody else even playing in any sport anymore?
College sports, no. I mean, who won the national title? Oh, that's right. That's a school for college baseball. That'd be the Ole Miss.
What? Old Miss? The Grove? I just supposedly they have like the best parties going on at their football games.
Before we get to BIP, that was a big. All right.
No, you need to remind me why I'm right and the callers of A's Clubhouse are wrong.
We'll do that after BIP.
Why I'm right, why they're wrong. It's a new, and we can play why they're right and I'm wrong. But today, I've got evidence. I've got the data to go against the callers of the A's Clubhouse show. They were wrong, and they owe me an apology.
You made me think of it by me bringing up Ole Miss. So the groom of the wedding that I went to in Texas.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
I got about 2 minutes to explain this story. Go to Texas for a wedding in Fort Worth. It's my wife's cousin getting married to her fiance, Matt. They've been together forever.
They have a child together.
They brought their child to my wedding. Their daughter is going to be 1 in August, I believe. So we're in Texas. We're in Fort Worth. It's 4:30. My wife and I are both ready to go. I have the bolo tie on. We're ready to go to this wedding. My wife gets a text from her grandmother. Wedding's not happening. The groom calls it off at 4:30 when the wedding's at 5:30.
Hour to kickoff.
Canceled. So to make it even better.
Was there lightning?
No.
Was there rain?
Nope.
Was there a tarp?
No, the wedding was inside anyway. It was 104 degrees out.
This was not weather related.
Not at all.
Earthquake.
He might have had, wait for it, cold feet.
Ooh,
there you go.
The weather is for cold feet.
Yeah. So it gets canceled. It's 5. The wedding's supposed to be at 5:30. They still have the reception at 6 o'clock. Free booze, free food, all that stuff. So family comes.
Okay, well, I'm seeing this sounds like a good wedding.
So we go to the reception, hang out with my wife's grandparents.
So where was the wedding supposed to be?
It was supposed to be at this like real nice. It was at a hotel, the Hotel Drover.
So you guys never go to where the wedding was supposed to be?
No, because it was going to be outside, but the reception was inside the hotel in this in a banquet.
So you
hall.
never have to be outside with the bolo tie.
No, but it was 104, so I'm glad it wasn't.
All right.
So the wedding gets canceled. We go to the reception. An hour into the reception, the bride and groom that didn't get married show up together.
I don't even know like how to act. I don't even know like is this appropriate? I mean I don't know.
Yeah.
So you've called off the wedding. You've got all these people who showed up from God knows where. You had to pay for flights, hotels,
rental cars.
Their special day.
And it happened.
And it doesn't happen. And then you guys show up for the party?
Yeah. It was so weird. And like I really do like her like a lot. Like I've gone to New Orleans for them for my wife's 30th birthday. Like we've done a lot of stuff with them. But it was weird. But the whole thing about Ole Miss is they told me how great parties are at Ole Miss because they live in Mississippi, but her cousin's from California and he's from Mississippi, but they met at Colorado State where they went to school. It's a whole thing. But they told me Ole Miss games are phenomenal and the Grove is awesome. So I plan on going to an SEC game this year. So there's the wedding story.
When are you going to an SEC game?
I'm gonna go to Ole Miss.
When?
Sometime in the fall.
Well, you're working through October, Mister. I got a ton of vacations.
I got my honeymoon. That's
yeah. I know. Now, you got your honeymoon, and now you're going for football games.
It's one football game. I could probably fly out Friday night.
But that's not what you do. You're not going to fly out Friday night for a Saturday game.
What do you mean?
I'm just checking you right now on the air because you seem to be taking a lot of time off.
I'm going to a wedding next Saturday in San Diego.
Well, this is not Twitter where you don't have to ever show up to work. All right?
That's true. All right, let me call Bip. But yeah,
Draymond Green, bold predictions for next year. It's not Draymond's fault. Is he working today, Bip?
I don't think so.
Do we have him?
Please record your message. When you have finished.
But he knew I was calling. What's going on?
Oh.
He joined, by the way, the StreamYard call when Glanville was on, but then his Wi-Fi was spotty, so I told him I would just call him. I'll tell him right now. Tell him calling now.
Warrior star drops his take on next 4 NBA titles during podcast. Dre's bold Dubs prediction. Am I going to be shocked if Draymond predicts that they'll win the next NBA title?
Probably not, because he probably will say that because it's Draymond.
Right. You know what? I got to get rid of Bleacher Report.
I think we have Bip now. We'll see.
Bipster.
Or press 1.
Oh. He read my text too.
I think I'm going to get rid of Bleacher Report unless they're going to take on partners. Unless Bleacher Report is going to be, I don't think there's any way they could become partners with the A's, right?
I don't know how that would
They
work.
would have to do like a partnership with Major League Baseball.
Yeah, probably.
I'm getting rid of their app. They just send, all they do is they send you these crazy titles, and that's why people click on their stuff.
It's clickbait.
Like I've gotten Draymond Green, Kevon Looney did something. I mean, none of it is stuff that I care about. Jock Peterson avoided the clubhouse with Tommy Pham in Atlanta. Like, I don't care. None of this is like Bleacher Report. Looney likely to stay. What?
Well, yeah.
That's not going to be any in-depth article with any type of factual stuff, any fact-checking stuff.
Bip read my message. Let's see if he gets the call. Oh, he said call again. Let's see.
Former All-Star, kid from Oakland, the great Bip Roberts.
As soon as it connects, here we go. Let's see.
There he is, Bipster.
Hey.
What's happening?
Oh, man, I'm coming through Crow Canyon. You know how that is.
Yeah, 680 is, are you right off 680 or where are you?
I'm on Crow Canyon going through the valley, man.
Oh, boy.
San Ramon.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
How are you? It's been a while.
Man, I'm good, brother. I'm enjoying this day, man. It's a nice day out, so I got to get in it.
Well, we can't enjoy a nice day. The A's are at Yankee Stadium, and they need some wins, Bip.
Boy, did you see that game yesterday? Unbelievable.
Come on. Catcher's interference twice?
You know, Tony, I say this every time we talk. You watch a game, you see something you've never seen before. It's just amazing how you can sit there in front of this television and watch 162 games, and every day you're going to see something different, something you never expected to see, and then it always turns out to burn the A's in the end. Because in that situation, they seemingly had the game in a position where they could win, and things were going their way. Yeah, they gave up a home run, 1 or 2, and Yankees are going to continue to swing them bats. But to see how the inning started and how it finished, I walked out the door and I came back. When I walked out the door, it was 5-2. When I came back, it was 6-5.
All right. How long have you been playing baseball and now coaching baseball and broadcasting baseball? How long?
Since I was 4.
All right. Here's how this inning went. Walk, catcher's interference, hit batter, catcher's interference. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Never seen a rally started like that. Never seen a rally started like that. Now, we've seen games where the leadoff walk turns around and it haunts the team. It burns you in the end. But I've never seen walk, and then you see catcher's interference, and then you see hit batsman, and then you see catcher's. Have you seen that many free passes that way in one inning ever? I've never seen that before.
And the thing is, Bip, it's like one thing if you're doing that against Kansas City in Oakland and the majority of the country's not watching. It's another thing when the Yankees are in a historic run, everybody's watching the Yankees, and you do it. I've been trying to stress to people really how bad of a look last night was.
The media mecca of the world. That is the biggest stage you can play on. This is where every player, myself included, wanted to go and just do the best that I could possibly do, have some of the greatest games that you can have in front of New York Yankee fans, because they're the ones. And I'll tell you like this, Tony. I live in Oakland. I used to live in Oakland. I played for the Cleveland Indians against the Yankees in the playoffs. Some reason, I don't know how this happened, I ended up in a barbershop in Oakland where they're New York Yankee fans. And they didn't know who I was when I walked in the door. And then when I introduced myself, they said, "We still hate you." I said, "Why do you hate me?" "We hate you because of what you did to the Yankees in '97. You just killed us." These fans are different from any other fan in the world. They have a memory that never goes away when it comes to their Yankees. They understand how big it is to be a Yankee fan and how big the Yankees are to them. And so that tradition will live on. It's lived on from Babe Ruth until now, that these guys understand the game a little different than we do here on the West Coast. And to go into New York yesterday and lose the game like that, the Yankee fans will never forget that inning. Just like you said, that inning, they will never forget how they beat the Oakland A's basically by getting a rally started without a hit. And they got free passes more in a way that we've never seen before, that turned around to end up winning the ball game, and to have them leaving as though they're still the kings of the hill. And I just, sometimes Yankee fans get on my nerves, but I really love the enthusiasm and the energy they show behind their team. And it never fails. They find a way to rally their team when it looks like they're not going to win a game. The Yankees find a way to rally and end up winning in the end.
You know, the one thing I've talked about today, Bip, is pride. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because as a professional athlete, you don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to have a bad look. Talk to us about when you go to Yankee Stadium for the first time as a professional athlete, the way you want to carry yourself. It's just not for you and the organization. It's for yourself and your career. And if you just have some like bad stuff go on, it's a bad look for you personally. I can't stress it enough.
It is. because again, you know, you're playing in New York, and every kid has dreamed of playing at Yankee Stadium. I don't think every kid has dreamed of playing at Milwaukee County, Fulton County Stadium. I never really dreamed about that. I dreamed about playing at Yankee Stadium someday and playing in front of the Bronx Zoo, because you know that if you perform well, those fans are going to respect you. And I think that's why when I walked in that barbershop and they said, we still hate you, that was respect. And when you can get respect from a Yankee fan, you've literally made it in the game. And to get that respect that day, it let me know that when you play in New York and you play well, you will forever be remembered as a player that came into Yankee Stadium and just demolished us. And I think that's what every player thinks of when he goes and plays in Yankee Stadium. I want to show the Bronx Zoo. First of all, I want to quiet the Bronx Zoo when I come to the plate, and I want to get that respect from them when I go in the outfield. And I think that's one thing that as a player you thrive on. That is where you get that pride of knowing that I just shut up the Bronx Zoo. I just made those guys quiet. Now, you're not going to pretty much keep them quiet, because if you get a foul ball and you want to throw it to them, they're going to give you the one finger salute like they always do. I mean, that's just the respect they're going to get.
You know, when I think about continuity and when I think about, you know, you're trying to build something, when you have a team that is losing a lot of games and you're talking about trying to build an atmosphere for the future, is it smart to constantly have a different lineup, to constantly have guys playing different positions? I know you want to explore. I know you want to try some things out. But when you constantly have you're constantly losing, you're constantly changing everything, is that good for a team that's trying to find its way? Or would you rather see maybe some guys hit in the same spot in the order, play in the same positions, see a little continuity for a week or so?
Well, I think the idea is to have an everyday lineup. I think that's what most teams have. You want to have some versatility in that lineup where you can move guys up or down according to the matchups. I think that with the A's this year, you just have a lot of question marks. And the question marks have all started once you traded away 13 top players. I don't really expect those guys to play at the level of the Yankees. I really don't. Because the talent level is so different in both dugouts that you can't expect them to actually play on the same level with the Yankees. If they can win a game in Yankee Stadium, to me, that's an accomplishment. I mean, yeah, they're both big league teams, and I get that. But the talent level is so different. One team has a payroll of over $200 million. The other has a payroll of less than 50. And that's what you're going to get. You know, it's not easy for those guys in Oakland A's uniform to understand that when we face teams like the Yankees and Boston and, you know, a few other teams there, that we're at a disadvantage. They have players that make a lot of money because they are good, because they are some of the best in all of baseball. And you're playing a team that, when you're playing against the A's, you're playing a team that is rebuilding. You got a lot of kids who came up from AAA, a lot of kids who don't know their way around yet. Well, I don't expect those rookies to be on the same level as Aaron Judge or Stanton or Rizzo, guys like that. I can't expect my rookies to lead me to beating teams like the Yankees or the Red Sox and teams like that. I have to rely on the veterans that I have, and the veterans that I have to have the talent to be able to compete. Well, we had that when we had those 13 guys before they were traded. We don't have those guys anymore. This is a totally different team. And I can't have the same expectations that I have for this team that I had for last year's team, when I had a Chapman and Olsen, and I had Marte, and I had, you know, Harrison, and I had all these guys who were just veteran guys in the league who played extremely well under extreme pressure. These kids right now, they have to find their way. And I can't expect them to be something that they're not right now. So, yeah, pride is always involved in it, but you also have to look at where these kids are in their walk when it comes to the big leagues. And they're just trying to find their way.
Speaking of finding your way in the big leagues, when you look at whether you're putting Nick Allen at second, Nick Allen at short, Jonah Bride at second. Whenever you're moving guys around, you got a veteran with Elvis that's normally in there, but you got a lot of moving pieces. Up the middle combinations, so much is about communication. How tough is it to learn if you're the second baseman, the shortstop, or if you're the shortstop, the second baseman? How long does it take to get that click, to get that chemistry between two guys?
Takes a lot of game action because I have to know exactly what you're going to do before you do it. You know, I played with a guy, Gary Templeton. I played with Barry Larkin. I played with Omar Vizquel. Those guys could anticipate where you were going to be on a double play and where to give you the feed. And they would ask you, where do you want the feed? And every time that I said where I wanted the feed, that's where they put it. That's how good those guys were. And I just think that it just comes down to where during batting practice, when you're working with your shortstop or your shortstop working with your second baseman, you have to understand and get a feel for where he likes to feed. And I think that's where you start to get the communication. And then in the game, it just happens naturally. But I think as long as the shortstop and second baseman understand where a shortstop or second baseman wants that ball on the feed, then he can make that play. These guys are big leaguers. They should be able to make those plays. They should be able to make good feeds and should be able to give it to a guy where he wants it, with his comfort and his comfort zone before he turns a double play. When I used to talk to Gary Temple, he would say, where do you want it? I would say, I want it right here. And he would put it right there every time. Every time. Jump steady, as we called him, jump steady, because he was a smooth operator. He was a perfectionist when it came to making sure he got the ball to his second baseman in the sweet spot. And Kim Caminiti was the same way from third base. He would put it right in your sweet spot. Caminiti threw the ball so hard sometimes you didn't even see it coming. You would just hope that it hit your glove, because if it didn't, it would probably knock you to right field. But these guys, they understood where a second baseman wanted it when it comes to turning a double play. And we all worked on that in infield. And remember now, I was a guy who played second. I played some short. I played third. I played center. I played left. But when it came to that work in the infield during the batting practice, I had to make sure that I was doing the right things that was going to help my club. Because I didn't want to get into a game and shortstop not know where I wanted to feed, and now he doesn't give me a good feed. I can't turn a double play and we lose the ball game. So in infield and during batting practice, you've got to work on those things when it comes to communication, so that in the game it just happens naturally.
When you look at Nick Allen, give me your scouting report. What do you see?
Scrappy. He's like a what's the name? Eckstein that used to play with the Angels. That's kind of what he reminds me of. Pure right-handed hitter. He plays shortstop or second base. I think that he's got a ways to go when it comes to, what we really consider him to be, because he just got up here. I need a little bit more of him to see exactly what type of player he is. Got a decent speed where he can steal the base. It looks like he can use the whole field. Got a little extra pop sometimes, where he can get in the gaps. Sure-handed wherever he plays, got a nice strong arm. So he's got all the talent, he's got all the tools to become a nice little player in the major leagues. Where he's going to play, that remains to be seen. I mean, right now, Andrus is the shortstop, and he can go over there and play second well. You see, when they have the shift on, he's not really having to move. He just moves and shifts. He just goes over to the little short right field because his arm is strong enough to throw a guy out at first. So that's an asset that he has. And, with a small strike zone, that's another asset that he has. And to be able to drive the ball in the gap is something that not many people expect from his size. And being a smaller guy myself, I understand that he has to do everything right to be successful. And I think he's that type of kid that is just, he's going to be hungry, and he's going to stay hungry, and he's going to always play hard. He made some good plays yesterday. And I just think that as we continue to watch him, we're going to kind of, shake our head or nod our head. Yeah, you know what? This kid can play. And I think the biggest thing for him now is to find a way to where he plays well enough to stay and not continue to go back and forth to AAA.
If you're Elvis, how do you handle the situation knowing that 550 plate appearances means that your contract for next year will be guaranteed at $15 million? The Rangers will not pay a dime of that. So the odds that the A's really want to get you to that is pretty slim. And you're looking at a kid like Allen, who's probably your replacement, who you're trying to help replace you. How do you handle that?
Wow, Tony, that's a kind of talking about me my last year, 1998 with the A's. I needed 50 at-bats at All-Star break, and I didn't get them. So there's ways that, and if they like you, they'll allow you to get that. And if they don't want to pay you, they're not going to allow you to get that. You know, that's the business part of the game. A lot of times that business part of the game is something that players don't like when it comes to how the contract or at-bats will affect their next year contract. I like Andrus. I really do. But are the A's going to pay him $15 million? I just don't know. Just don't think so, especially the way business has been done the last few years. Anytime a guy has an opportunity to make some money, he's not going to be in that Oakland A's uniform. So I think Andrus' thing is right now is just to audition for every team in the league, continue to play well, show everybody that he hasn't, deteriorated on the defensive side. Because everybody could use a shortstop that makes all the plays. Now, whether his bat's going to ever come around to being what it used to be, that's probably stretching it a little bit. But he's a solid guy in the clubhouse, solid guy on the field. I love talking to him after A's games. I say, Elvis has just left the building. I love to hear that. And he says, I love to hear that too. So there's a guy who really understands who he is, and he loves to play the game, keeps a smile on his face. And wherever he goes, he's going to brighten up that clubhouse. He's going to be a solid player on that team. So I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he gets his at-bats, and if he doesn't, I'm going to wish him the best when I see him, because there's a kid, man, that does everything right, and he should be rewarded as he gets to the end of his career. So we'll just have to wait and see. But as we know, a lot of times when it comes down to at-bats getting you the next year in the future, sometimes teams have a way of not allowing you to get that. They always have that little player that they feel they can go out there and he needs to get more action, and they kind of weed you out. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, again, like I just said, I'm going to wish him nothing but the best, because he's nothing but a classy player and he's a good dude. And I wish him nothing but the best.
We saw a stolen base yesterday by him in the second inning. I mean, he can still move. We act like he's an old man. He's what, 33 years old? It's not like we're talking he's like 38 or 40.
Right, man. He can still play, and he makes his plays. I don't see him being overmatched. I see him at times having good swings. I see him at times getting out because the pitcher's just better that day. And I see that around the league everywhere. So he's no different than anyone else when it comes to the offensive side. But on that defensive side, he continues to make plays. He hasn't lost any range. He still has a good arm from shortstop. He still makes routine plays look easy, and he makes a tough play look easy at times. So he hasn't lost much. And as we know, a lot of times when guys leave the Oakland A's and they go put on another uniform, they become all-stars. So let's just wait and see.
Yeah, if you could, let's end on this. If you could give some advice to Mark Kotsay as a first-year manager, he's got to hold this thing together. There's going to be a lot of losses. There's going to be a lot of movement. You've played on some bad teams during your career. You've covered some bad teams. What advice would you give Mark Kotsay for the rest of the season?
Well, not being a manager, not having the opportunity to actually make these decisions myself. If I was to just put myself in his shoes for one day, I would say, you know what? When I bring this reliever in, if he's doing well this inning, I'm going to leave him in. And if he does well the second inning, I'm going to leave him in. And then when he gets in some trouble, then I'm going to bring in another guy, and hopefully he can get the job done. But when I see a guy who's hot out there, I'm going to just leave him in. I mean, what do I have to lose? If he's hot and he doesn't have stressful innings, I'm going to leave him in. I don't care about no matchups. I don't care about analytics. I don't care about no stats. If my guy is hot that day, I'm going to leave him in because he's going to give me a chance to win this game. So that would be the only thing, because, again, the lineup that he's working with, got to find ways to put the matchups in order. Now, sometimes you might want to keep Brownie in a situation where he can be a guy that drives in runs and hits with power. You got to keep these guys in the positions where they're comfortable. I'd walk around, I'd ask them, where do you feel comfortable hitting? And that's where I would leave them. And then I would just leave it like that. And anytime a guy needed a day off, I would fill him in with a guy that I feel like he has a good matchup against that pitcher. But all in all, I mean, he's kind of got his hands tied. And I would just, if I could give him any advice, I would say, hey, just leave my reliever in a little longer if he's hot. If he's cold, get him up out of there as quick as you can. But if he's hot, let him go as long as he can till I can get to my closer. And then hopefully we'll have more runs on the board than the other team at the end.
Bibster, you're the best. I'm sure we're going to be doing some TV together coming up here because I got a bunch of July dates. So we'll see you in the studio.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll see you in July, buddy. Yeah, buddy. We'll see you.
Hey, are you going to be bringing – are we doing ribs again? Or is what's up with your guy and his smoker?
I'm not working on the 4th, so I can't bring him in, bro.
It's firework night. You're smart. It's a night game.
I'll see you soon, my brother.
Take care. The great Bip Roberts, the former All-Star, the kid from Oakland. You see him on A's pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports California. As, yes, I have a bunch of dates coming up here in July. I'll be working with my man Bip. You know he was one of my favorite players growing up.
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't mention it this time. Usually you mention that Bip was one of your favorite players, if not your favorite player. Well, no, your favorite player was George Brett. So,
it was George Brett was 1, Tony Gwynn was 2, Nolan Ryan was 3.
You mean this?
That guy.
This guy.
I loved Nolan Ryan when I was a kid. And you know who I also love, but now it's like, really? Because as much if I got to do it for Bonds, I was also a big Roger Clemens guy.
Well, I mean, he won how many Cy Young? 7?
He only won 7.
That's it?
I know Stu owned him. I get it. I work with Stu. Love Stu too. But my top 3, Brett, Gwynn, Nolan Ryan. And if you think, oh, really? I went back to see Brett and Nolan Ryan inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I went there. I saw it. Oh, quickly. You know what? We're going to break. We come back. We got to pay some bills. We come back.
Well, we only have like 2 minutes left.
Why I'm right and the fans and the callers are wrong. Next on A's Cast Live.
Many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number 1 mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Do you remember last year? A's had playoff hopes. What time's the game today?
Well, pregame's at 3:05, so you better get through this quickly.
Oh, my God. A's, playoff hopes, Rangers come to town. Joey Gallo smokes the A's. He had a killer 3-game series. You remember that?
Yes. Did he have like 4 home runs or something, or 5?
He just torched the A's, and every caller was like, the A's need to trade for Joey Gallo. No one was even looking at Marte at that point. Everybody wanted Gallo. And I said on the postgame show, the A's Clubhouse show, why would you want to get another strikeout guy? Home run strikeout guy. We don't have enough of those guys. You're wrong, Tony. This is the guy they need. He can play outfield. He can blah, 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 blah. They had every reason why David Force and Billy Beane need to go get this guy. Joey Gallo is the missing piece.
Oh, I remember all this.
You remember that?
Because I was one of the guys.
And I was an idiot. I had people go, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Joey Gallo is hitless in his last 21 at-bats with 11 strikeouts. Since making his debut, remember when you wanted him, A's fan? Remember? Had a great weekend, got a trade for him. Joey Gallo, since acquired by the Yankees, is hitting a .164. That's last year, July 30th. Not a small sample size. How many strikeouts do you think he's got?
That's not fair. I have it already. It's 170.
170. Only Patrick Wisdom has 180. More than him.
And Wisdom hits more home runs. That's St. Mary's Patrick Wisdom.
Joey Gallo, the guy you want to trade for, has hit once in a ballpark built for him, not the Coliseum, Yankee Stadium, 164 with 170 strikeouts. That's the guy you wanted?
That everyone did. But now we see what's going on.
So, playing the game, callers are wrong, host is right. Who's the winner?
As of right now, you.
In that situation, I don't win many, but I put my stake in the ground and stood by my guns on that one, going, I do not want Joey Gallo. I do not want another home run strikeout guy.
Yeah, and well, it's played out because the Yankees gave up a good bit for him. I mean, Josh Smith is now playing for them at third base, but they dodged the bullet, or the Rangers did, by holding on to him, and they got some value for him because he can't hit. Craig Carlton wanted them off the Yankees like 3 weeks ago. I have the quote. I'll read it tomorrow, or read it on Thursday. But
he's terrible. He literally is terrible.
Yeah.
And A's fans wanted him. Can you imagine we were still stuck with him in last place with a guy that can't hit?
Yeah, it'd be terrible. And you're paying him.
That's what you wanted?
I mean,
that's really what you wanted.
Yeah.
So in the first edition of Host is Right, Callers are Wrong, I'm 1-0.
True.
Doesn't always work that way.
No.
There's been plenty of I was wrong about Pate earlier today. He hit better than I thought in the minor leagues.
True. And yeah, you admitted you were wrong. Just like I did about Detroit.
Well, it's the first time you've ever admitted you're wrong.
We'll see how many more times I do that.
Probably not a lot.
I was wrong about my first marriage, too.
You're 0 for 1 in that category, too. We'll see how number 2 works. We want to thank the great Doug Glanville. We want to thank Bip Roberts. Coming up next is A's Total Access. Oh, by the way, Ray Fosse and Derek Jeter. This is going to be awesome. Thank you for listening. We got the day off tomorrow. We're back on Friday. What time?
Thursday at 4.
We'll have the big vote to talk about.
That's true.
Hopefully Dave Cavill will be by.
Hopefully Friday.
Friday at what time?
Friday, same time, 4. But I don't know when Cavill will be. I'm working on that still.
Friday at 4?
That's what Thursday and Friday, both at 4. Was our show time.
Thursday and Friday. I forgot. Tomorrow's Wednesday. It's a day game. We'll see everybody on Thursday, 4 o'clock, A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Hitting the road with the family. On your way to nonstop adventures. No worries ahead, because you know you can stop at a Chevron station along the way. Get fuel for your car, fuel for your crew. That's Chevron with